2025 is nearly over, but what were the most controversial moments in bowling this year? Moments that either shocked the bowling world or caused a lot of debate. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the most controversial moments and also discussing the highlights of the 2025 PBA season, because it was a very interesting year with a lot of stories to discuss. I think we're all looking forward to the new season next year and to see what 2026 will bring us. And we'll start off straight away with controversy number 1, and that was the Jason Belmonte vaping scandal. Now, this was one of the stranger stories from the year, and it involved Jason Belmonte and Shaun Rash. It occurred at the Players' Championship, and Rash accused Belmonte of vaping during competition. Rash filmed Belmonte, although he wasn't actually filming in the video, but appeared to take something out of his shoe cover, but you couldn't see what it was. Another player came out and said there's been suspicions that Belmonte has vaped before during competition in the past, which of course goes against the PBA's rules if he did indeed do this. Rash brought this allegation to the PBA and Belmonte was spoken to. However, due to the inconclusiveness of the evidence, no further action was taken. This didn't sit too well with Rash, and he made comments on social media, and in actual fact this was then turned back onto Rash as he got a bit of a ticking off about continuing to complain about this situation. All very bizarre, and these two have never really been best friends, to say the least. They've had a number of incidents in the past, and this incident certainly fired up the feud once again. Whether Belmonte did vape, only he knows, but it was a big social media story in the bowling community. Controversy number 2 was the USBC's new rules on urethane. It became clear that the USBC were gearing up to make some changes to their rules. They put out a survey to gain feedback on the use of urethane and what people felt the best course of action would be. They were essentially trying to gauge opinion on whether urethane should be banned completely or if more restrictions should be brought in. The results were quite interesting. Just over 57% preferred a change in urethane governance, and specifically 36% supported a complete ban across all USBC competition. But when you compare this, there was 38% that supported continuing to allow urethane with no changes. This meant that technically more were in favour of allowing urethane than banning it. But despite that, the USBC went ahead and made some changes and announced the plans for 2026. And to be honest, these new restrictions are very confusing. You have some tournaments where slow oil absorbing balls, as the USBC describes, are banned completely. These tournaments include the US Open, USBC Masters, and the PWBA Tour. Then you have tournaments like the Open Championship and some of the senior events where you can use urethane as long as it's 78 in hardness. But there's a lot of confusion because the rules do contradict. For example, at the Junior Gold Championships, 78 hardness balls will be allowed for qualifying only. When you get to match play and the finals though, no slow absorbing balls will be allowed to be used regardless of their hardness. Now this kind of ruling is very strange to me, and I think everybody was hoping for some clarity and rules that are easy to follow. It would have made a bit more sense if they had just come out and said, okay, all tournaments you can only use 78 hardness, or maybe just a flat out urethane ban. This now has created a lot of confusion and a situation where one week you can use urethane, the next only 78 hardness, and then after that, no urethane at all. Instead of ending this endless urethane debate, it's only fueled it. My guess is that these rules are being used as a bit of a test, and I think from there we get some new rules for 2027 and maybe even an outright ban. It's still uncertain, but it was one of the most controversial moments in 2025. And while we're talking about urethane, I just wanted to let you know that I made a video yesterday where I look at what I think are the most underrated urethane bowling balls of all time. We all think about balls like the Pitch Black and of course the Purple Hammer, but what about those urethane bowling balls that were really good but flew under the radar? That's exactly what I discussed. So to find out which urethane balls made the list, you can watch the full video by clicking the link above. Let's now do a recap of the 2025 PBA season. This season, international players did very well as we had 7 different international winners. Also, we had many first-time winners with 6 in total. Graham Farr opened up the season with a win at the Delaware Classic for his second title, breaking a nearly 9-year title drought, and had a very great season overall. EJ Tackett did what he does best and took over the tour once again, winning the first major, the US Open, and then the Pete Weber Classic. He had an insane World Series of bowling, making every single show. He won the Shark and then the World Championship for the 3rd time in a row. These 4 wins helped him win Player of the Year once again for the 3rd year in a row. It was a truly spectacular season from him, and once again he was just so far ahead of the rest of the field. Tackett was also involved in bowling history when he survived the longest sudden death roll-off in PBA Tour history. This was at the Mike Albee Nevada Classic. He was going against Ethan Fury and they were tied, and they both rolled off the first 6 strikes. Tackett rolled a 7th, which saw him make it through to the final, although he would lose that match to Andrew Anderson. And speaking of Anderson, he had his best season to date, winning 2 titles, which included the Tour Finals. He also won the PBA LBC National Champions Clash, and this was a non-title event that featured 8 bowlers, a mix of male, female, amateur, professional, and junior to senior bowlers. A unique moment came at the USBC Masters when Gary Haynes became a PBA champion for the first time. Ball rep Dino Castillo could see Haynes was struggling with the pressure of the moment, which is totally understandable, especially as he was going against a very experienced major champion in Anthony Simonson. So Castillo told Haynes to go and kiss his wife. That's Haynes' wife, not Castillo's. And then that did the trick, as Haynes was able to get the job done, helped partly by the fact that Simo had a 4 count in the 10th. But Haynes still needed a mark and spared the 10-pin to win the title. It was a pretty genius move from Castillo there and a great moment. Another highlight of the year came at the Players' Championship, when we essentially saw the future of the PBA battle it out for the title. Ryan Barnes played Ethan Fury, and Ryan Barnes won the Rookie of the Year and also set a record in rookie earnings with just over $113,000. But it would be Ethan who would put in a very cool and collected performance to take home his first ever title. He showed the bowling world even at such a young age. He has a great physical and mental game. Jesper Svensson has had some struggles on TV in recent years. He did win the 2024 Lucky Larson in Sweden, but his last title in the US came in 2022, and since then he's had a lot of bad luck on TV. But he put that right, winning the Tournament of Champions. He used this momentum to finish the season with a flourish, and he won the PBA playoffs, defeating EJ Tackett. And the final event of the year was an international one, the Lucky Larson in Sweden, and Sean Rash put in one of the most incredible performances we've seen in a long while. He had a great run, making it all the way to the final, but during the practice shots it became clear that he was in a lot of pain and unable to throw the ball how he normally would. He was forced to think on his feet and did the only thing he could, and that was to really just throw the ball as straight as he could to try and minimize the pain. But you could see he was in a lot of pain, and he battled through it and made it work. He won the title, and it showed what determination and skill he has to be able to do that in the final. It marked his first win in 4 years and is one of his best wins of his career, and it might just give him a resurgence in 2026. And so that is the recap of the 2025 PBA season, and that will bring us to an end of this video. I hope you all enjoyed this one, and I'd love to hear from you in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought about bowling in the year 2025 and your thoughts on the controversies that I mentioned in the video. If you have enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you would hit the subscribe button below. Well, that's going to do it from me for today, and as always, thank you bowling fans, and see you all next time.